Hi friends, Krista here. Thanks for stopping by Books and Jams. Today I'm going to be sharing with you the first of two Booktube Prize Round 1 videos. I think I've decided I'm going to split them in half so that it's not a super long video, but this first part I did a try a chapter tag for the 6 books that were in my grouping. For those of you who aren't aware, the Booktube Prize is just that, a prize for literary fiction books mostly that are judged by Booktube in general, both watchers and content makers. This is the second year. Robert from Barter Hordes put it all together, and there's a whole separate channel now for the Booktube Prize, which I will link down below. Round 1 started in February. We had 2 months to read 6 books if you were a judge. I had so much fun watching it last year that I thought this year I'm going to be a part of it. And so I requested to join in the judging, and I got assigned to Fiction Group D. I had 6 books that I had to read, and in this video you can watch my initial reactions to the beginning of each of those books. Enjoy! Well, it is now 2 days later, and I never checked back in with you about Fleischman is in Trouble. I only read this for maybe 20 minutes at work the other day, and I was really having a hard time keeping my eyes open for it. It did not grab me right off the bat, so I'm a little nervous about having to finish this one. But I thought it might be fun, since I have some time tonight, to kind of do a try a chapter as my initiation into these 6 books and let you know kind of my initial thoughts on them, and then I will obviously read all of them and then tell you kind of final thoughts, and we could kind of compare and see if my initial reactions were the same. So we'll consider this one done. I did not care for it. I'm going to pick up The Innocence right now by Michael Crummy. I believe this is somewhat of a dystopian, maybe survivalist kind of a thing. I don't really know, but I'm going to read the first chapter, or like read for 15 minutes and see what I think. I'll come back and let you know. Okay, the first chapter of this one was only 6 pages, so it wasn't very long. I forgot to say that in Fleischman is in Trouble, there are no chapters, and that makes me angry. I don't like that. I need the chapters to feel motivated to keep going. This one doesn't have them. That's going to be a problem for me. Hopefully I can get into the story and just go with it. This one, we start off with the parents of these 2 young children. I'm not quite sure of their ages, but both parents die, kind of one, and then a few months later, the mom dies, and a few months later, the father dies. It's a very, very cold climate wherever they are at the moment. It's wintertime, frozen, freezing. Clearly, they don't have very much resources. We didn't meet anyone else or even see anyone else. They don't live in a town or a village, so they seem to be kind of isolated. So at the end of this first chapter, right at the end of it, the older is the boy, and he buries his father out in the ocean. They live on the coast of somewhere and goes to sleep and wakes up the next day, and his hair has turned all white, according to the little sister. So I'm intrigued by this. I found the writing to be easy enough to follow along with, and I'm very interested to keep going, but I'm gonna take a look at another one now. So let me go with one of the bigger ones. I'm gonna jump into the first chapter of this one, An Orchestra of Minorities by Chigozie Obioma. Again, this is one that I had never even heard of before, so I'm excited to see what the first chapter is like. I'll let you know. All right, I just finished the first chapter of this one, An Orchestra of Minorities, and it was a little hard to get into at first. It's narrated by the main character, Chinonso's Chi, his kind of guardian spirit thing, which can put thoughts in his mind but not influence his decisions. Anyway, it starts out describing the setting a little bit, but it was described like, if one were to go to this town, one would see this river and blah blah blah, and one would see this, and one would know this, and it was not fun to read. Also at the beginning of this one are these 2 charts, which mean absolutely nothing to me at this point. They are chart of Igbo cosmology and composition of man in Igbo cosmology. And I am not quite sure what Igbo cosmology is or means. So maybe I'll understand a little more as I get into this one. But anyways, this man Chinonso is driving away from just picking up some birds at the market, some chickens and other things. On his way back to home, I believe, he's driving over a bridge and he sees this woman who is about to jump. He feels compelled to pull over and talks her down off the bridge. She seems to be afraid of him. He goes to his van and takes out 2 chickens and throws them over the bridge to kind of demonstrate what would happen if she were to go into the river. So kind of brutal. Not the easiest writing to get into right away, but it has potential, I guess. It's interesting. It's different. We'll see. I'm not like eager to keep going, but yeah, it's interesting. Now, oh, there goes my basket. Oh, good save, Krista, good save. Next, I'm going to do one of the short ones, Lani by Max Porter. I have heard of this author, but not this book. I don't know anything about what it's about, but it is itty bitty. So we'll see how the first chapter goes for this one. Well, we've got another strange one here. This is set in somewhere in England. I read through a couple chapters because they're very, very short, and we kind of switch through perspectives. They're not numbered, but it kind of switches through different perspectives. So there you see Lani's mom and Lani's dad, and we get Pete, who is a local artist, and Dead Papa Toothwort. Dead Papa Toothwort is this mythical kind of creature, and we start out with him waking up from a nap and heading into the village to listen. And he listens to snippets of conversation, and these are all nonsensical snippets of conversation. So we have my trusty friend, a sign up at Elm House, Agnetta's piled on the pounds, year 9's lost control. So it's just kind of hard to read because there's not much flow to it, but it is interesting that it's written in the way that it is. But then he hears Lani's voice, and that he says is his favorite. So far we don't have Lani's perspective, so I'm interested to see if we're just going to learn about this kid. Lani is a child. Are we just going to learn about him through these other people's perspective? But it seems like he is kind of a special kid. From the dad's perspective, he's at work and he can't wait to get home to see his son. Pete, the local artist, is kind of interested in the mom, or like lights up when she comes around. The mom asks Pete if he will give Lani art lessons, and at first he says no, but then he comes back around to their house and says, if that means Lani can just sit in my kitchen and draw on paper while I'm doing stuff and we chat about art, then that's fine. So again, kind of a strange beginning. This is only like 210 pages. I might choose this one to read first just to knock one of these out. I don't know what to make of it. It's kind of weird. Is Dead Papa Toothwort kind of a bad character, good character, or a mix of both? I don't really know yet. It's hard to tell with just a few pages. But I am going to start the first chapter of The Water Dancer. This is the one that I own, and I'm probably the most excited about in this stack of 6 books. So hopefully it pulls me in right from the beginning. I guess we will see. Okay, I finished the first chapter of this one. I don't know how this is going to go for me this round. I had a hard time figuring out what was going on, but from what I could gather, our main character, I don't yet know his name, and his brother, Maynard, maybe it's his brother, maybe it's his, maybe he's a slave and Maynard is the owner. I don't know. They're traveling somewhere. Main character sees a vision of his mother who died or taken away from him when he was young. He doesn't have any memories of her, but he sees this woman on a bridge and he knows it's his mother. Then somehow Maynard and our main character end up in the water, almost drowning, getting pulled by the current of the river. And like, does he drown? He heads towards the light. He kind of gives up, but then he sees this vision again of his mother giving this young boy who's weeping a necklace of some sort, like a shell necklace. And the boy comes over and gives our main character the necklace. And he says, "And I saw at long last my reward." I don't know. I don't know. I am not drawn in by the writing of this one. I feel like I had to work too hard to figure out what was going on. Maybe I'm just too simple-minded for literary fiction. I don't know, but it didn't pull me in right away. But it wasn't as difficult as a couple of the other ones. We'll see. I have one left to try out, and that is Read at the Bone by Jacqueline Woodson. I'm excited for this one because I read Brown Girl Dreaming, which is her middle grade memoir written in verse, and I loved it. I thought it was so good. I don't know anything about this one, except that it's another little tiny book. So we'll see how the beginning of this one goes for me. All right, I just finished the first chapter of Read at the Bone, and I really like Jacqueline Woodson's writing. Even though it is still very poetic, it's not complicated. I just really enjoyed it. So at the beginning of this one, we are at the kind of coming out debutante ball of this 16-year-old girl, and she kind of reflects on earlier that day her conversation with her mother. So we're kind of getting a glimpse of this family. The grandmother was part of this sorority, and generations before her were part of this sorority. The 16-year-old is going to join the sorority someday, but the mother didn't because she ended up getting pregnant with this girl when she was 16. So there's a lot of tension between mother and daughter, but it's set contemporary. I think it's 2008 that it's set. I don't know, early 2000s, and contemporary African-American family. I am very interested to continue with this one, so that's good. After some of the others that didn't really pull me in, this one did, and so I'm really excited about that. So here's how it stands. After reading the first chapters of all of these, the one I'm going to put them in order from 6 up to 1 of how interested I am in reading them and kind of where I'm going to start. So I'm still the least interested in reading Fleischman is in Trouble. That will be number 6. Number 5 is going to be this An Orchestra of Minorities. So that's 5. Yeah, it just didn't call out to me. 4 is The Water Dancer by Ta-Nehisi Coates. Meh. I don't know. Hopefully. I have hopes for that one, though. Lani by Max Porter will be my 3rd choice. Read at the Bone, my 2nd choice, but I am most interested in continuing with The Innocence by Michael Crummy. I think I'm just maybe in the mood for something a little dystopian kind of feel, and I'm just curious to know what's going to happen to these 2 kids. So it is Thursday today. I'm going to pick this one up tonight. I don't have anything else going on this evening, so I'm going to read this one tonight, and honestly, I'm hoping this weekend to get through this one and these 2. I'm really hoping to finish all 3 of these this weekend, because I really would like to get to some of these bigger ones before the end of the month. But these are the ones that most appeal to me, so I'm going to start here. So there you have it. Those are the 6 books that I had to read. I am going to end this one here, and in another video, talk to you about those 6 books and how I ended up ranking them, and then which ones advanced to the next round of judging. I do already know the 6 books that I'm going to be judging for the next round, which will be April and May, and I double checked to make sure I could get a hold of them through Hoopla and my library app, either as an ebook or an audiobook, since I don't own any of the ones that I have to read, but that is for another time. But stay tuned for another Booktube Prize video coming very soon. I would love to hear your initial thoughts about these books down below. How do you think I might have ranked them? Let's chat in the comments. You guys know I love talking to you down there, and give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will be talking to you in another video very soon. Bye.